Alright, so, 7 years ago, almost, I did an unboxing, I believe, for the original Xbox One. 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. I did one for the Xbox One X. And here we go, with the Xbox Series X. Waiting for this to come out since earlier this year, hell, even since last year. The PS5 will most likely get here in the near future. But yeah, hell, probably have an unboxing video at the same time I'll have this one out, or the same day. But yeah, unfortunately no launch games that are exclusive, but it does have a great back catalog, I would say, of games available, especially if you get Game Pass. So, but yeah, so, yeah, and I know other channels have probably done videos like this already. This is mine. So yeah. And I couldn't pre-order this on Amazon like I kind of wanted to, so I just pre-ordered it through GameStop, which actually wasn't that bad. But yeah. So, on the front of the box here, minus this little scruffled up, we have a close-up picture of the corner of the thing that has the power button and the vents on top and everything. The Series X logo right there. The Xbox logo right there. 4K 120 FPS. That's for like certain games like Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition is has a 120 FPS mode on Xbox Series X and PS5, and I assume PC as well. But it's not a great 120 FPS mode. You'll usually see 120 FPS modes in shooters and racing games, probably sports games too, because they don't have a ton of like things that require the extra horsepower, so they can actually focus on the frame rate, I believe. So yeah, the 1TB SSD, which I have the Xbox One X, and that is a 1TB hard drive, and then I also have 2 4TB external hard drives for my Xbox One and everything. So, yeah, and after this video, I'm also going to do a video where I set this shit up, and then I'm going to do some videos on testing certain games after I transfer them to the drive on this. But yeah, so stay tuned for those. But anyways, yeah, so we have that, and we have the side here with a picture of the chip that's inside of it. 4K 120 frames per second, 8K HDR, which that's most likely just going to be upscaled to 8K, and even then, you don't really need 8K. You don't even really need 4K, realistically. Like, 1080p or even 1440p is good enough at 60 frames per second. Like, that's also the thing. A lot of games are going to be receiving 60 frames per second upgrades, or if they already have 60 frames per second modes on Xbox One X, they're going to be given extra horsepower to be able to hit that target frame rate, which is good. And hopefully, a lot of games have retroactive patches that let them go 4K 60 instead of just 1080p 60, if they don't have those modes. So yeah, Xbox Velocity architecture, 1TB solid state drive or SSD, variable refresh rate, that if you have a variable refresh rate TV or monitor, you can use that. 4K Blu-ray player, which was also in the 1X and 1S. So, yeah. Includes Xbox Series X console, wireless controller, ultra high-speed HDMI, that's the HDMI 2.1 cable, I believe. Wireless networking compatibility. And then Ultra HD, HDMI, Dolby Vision, Atmos, and DTS-X. and everything. So, yeah, I took the tape off this already, so I'm trying not to have it open prematurely. On the side here, you have a picture of the console and the new Xbox Series X/S controller. Series X logo, 1TB SSD, the Xbox logo right there. And on the back, you got a picture of Master Chief from Halo, because originally Halo Infinite was supposed to come out with this as a launch title, but unfortunately got delayed due to the team needing more time, I think, to work on it, to make it more high quality in terms of the graphics and shit. It's kind of stupid. We have the Xbox logo right up in the corner there. Power your dreams. The fastest, most powerful Xbox ever. Redefine speed with the Xbox Velocity architecture. Play thousands of games across 4 generations of Xbox. Unlimited access to 100 plus high quality games with Game Pass. So yeah, Microsoft logo and all that shit. And then the bottom is just a bunch of legal information. So yeah, should open this. I like the design of this, in terms of what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like you're getting something very special, which, personally, I do think that all consoles are pretty special for the most part. And if you're really going to be one of those people that, like, denigrates a console for literally no reason, or really, really stupid reasons, I don't know. Like, I have problems with Sony as a company, but I'm not gonna just hate on their console, I'm gonna hate on the company. Like, I think Xbox has made some good consoles. The Xbox One did stumble at first, but I think the Xbox One X and S were really good at trying to redirect the direction of Xbox and everything, after the disastrous launch of the Xbox One original and everything, but unfortunately couldn't save Microsoft that generation. But, you know, it's not like the Xbox One was a complete failure. So, it sold, I want to say, from numbers I hear sometimes, but Microsoft stopped reporting these several years ago, so it's just speculation, but I think the numbers I hear are somewhere between 40 to 60 million, which is still good for a console. Like, I don't even know. But, yeah. But here we go with this, hopefully. The custom fitted foam. We got the Series X right here, the console itself, with this little thing, with this cardboard thing wrapping around it. Power your dreams, the Xbox logo, and a picture of the vents. I should probably save this for last, actually. Yeah. There's an insert here for getting started and everything, or a little manual sort of thing. You can also have the Xbox app for the setup and everything. Additional support with everything, or with the Xbox and the controller and everything. So yeah. So in here we have all the extra stuff, which is the product and regulatory guide. Power cable, which is basically the same as the power cable on the Xbox One X and One S, and PS4, and probably PS5. The HDMI cable, which again, HDMI 2.1, which allows it for 120 frames per second. Here we go. We got the Xbox One, or Xbox Series X controller. It's actually not too bad a fit. Yeah, it's definitely, this is the Series, Elite Series 2 controller that I think I did an unboxing of when I got it last year. You can definitely see the difference Like, this is a little bit thinner. It's got some different stuff. But they definitely also took some inspiration from it with the more tough, like, grips right there. And the triggers and everything are pretty good. Everything else feels mostly the same. They now have this kind of D-pad, which is like a hybrid between the 360's D-pad, which I didn't actually notice until years later. If you have a 360 controller, at least a later one, you can turn this 90 degrees, or 45 degrees, I think. Or no, just 90. You can shift this 90 degrees in either direction to have it be either with these or just the regular D-pad. And as you can see on the Elite Series 2, I prefer these kind of D-pads, but I like that this is sort of a hybrid between the two for the D-pad right there. That's actually really nice. And then right here, they did what PlayStation did with the PS4 controller, and we'll have on the DualSense, I believe. Added a share button for sharing screenshots, taking videos, I assume as well streaming, but I'm not too sure about that. I wouldn't be surprised. And that's actually not that bad. Unfortunately, still takes AA batteries, which thankfully are included in with the thing, but they said that they're going to have rechargeable battery packs available. So if you want to buy them, so yeah. I suppose I'm probably just going to use the Elite Series 2, honestly, because you can sync these Xbox One controllers with the Series X and S and vice versa, because they use the same, like, frequency thing, for Bluetooth, I believe. So, yeah, because I generally do like having rechargeable battery packs in controllers more than that, and I don't understand why they couldn't have just, like, put in a rechargeable battery pack with the controller rather than not. It's really dumb to me, honestly. But yeah, and Duracell. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I don't ever really have to buy batteries anymore because like, when it comes to these things, I usually have... A lot of things come with rechargeable batteries now, so I don't usually have to buy physical batteries outside of the things. So yeah. So I just installed those. And here we go with the console now. Which, this is just great. Some people I've seen videos of, I think it's Digital Foundry, and then I think a few other YouTube channels or or video creators I've seen don't like the material on there. This is the same material as on the Series X in terms of the, like, feel of it and everything, so I don't know. But here we go with the Series X console. As you can see, there's the vent right here, and that's just painted green for the plastic right there, so you can see it from a side angle, which is actually really cool. I think some people expected it to be a light, which it did give off that sort of thing in the early promotional material, but I don't mind it. You got the side, the bottom right here, which has the stand on it, pre-put on, and you can't take it off because I think it's molded to there. The other side, which you can put this on its side, there are the little things right there, little nubs right there for it. And then we get the back, which I actually like the organization of this. You got a vent right there, but there's also vents at the top. And I think you can use this to remove the backing here if you need to. But you got this right here, and it's actually the Series X. From what I've seen in terms of breakdown or teardown videos of this thing, it actually is pretty good in terms of the compactness of it while also working really well and keeping cool, and also keeping quiet, so that's interesting. But yeah, as you can see the back here pretty well, yeah. So you got two USB 3.0 cable, or ports. There's like the Series X, a storage expansion slot for the custom SSD cards that they're making with Seagate. They might have more of those be made by different companies in the future. I assume they just have an exclusivity deal with Seagate to make those for a bit, but we'll see. An HDMI out port. Unfortunately, no HDMI in, which they did announce at some point earlier this year, which I'm not surprised by. The Xbox One only had one because it was supposed to be an all-in-one entertainment center kind of thing. So I'm not surprised that this doesn't have it. An Ethernet cable and a slot for the power, or an Ethernet port, and then the port for the power cable. So that's actually really cool. And then vents right here. And that's actually really, really cool. I want the lock to keep it there, I think. So, yeah, this is actually really, really nice. Really, really cool. Oh yeah, and then on the front here, I didn't point anything out, but the power... we're almost dead. The power button, the disc ejector button, the disc tray or disc port, another USB 3.0 port right here. I think it's 3.0. And a sync button for the controllers and everything. So, yeah. So that is actually really cool. And I do like a lot of the thought that went into this. You can take this off. Nice. But I do like a lot of the thought that went into the design of this and everything. So yeah, gonna do the PS5 next at some point. So yeah, whether it's, I don't know if I'll upload this the day I did it or the day after, but you guys will definitely see this video. So yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna do some testing of videos, or testing of games in videos for yeah, definitely for the main channel and everything. So stay tuned for that, guys, mainly in terms of, like, 60 FPS modes and shit like that. I don't have a 4K TV, nor can I record videos in 4K at the moment, so not going to do that. But I am going to test out the 60 frames per second modes in games like Final Fantasy 15, Kingdom Hearts 3, and a few other things, and a few other games as well, possibly. We'll see. All depends on what games I feel like testing out. So yeah, and a game I definitely wanted to test out was Kingdom Hearts 3, because that has an unlocked frame rate mode, and by default. And while it ran okay on Xbox Series X and PS4, PS4 Pro, and the original Xbox One, it didn't quite hit 60. It was in like the mid to late 40s at best most of the time, and Xbox One X had the, as Digital Foundry said, that it has the most frame rate per resolution. I don't know if they were testing it at 4K or not, but it definitely didn't hit 60 when I did my playthrough originally of Kingdom Hearts 3, so yeah. And Final Fantasy 15 definitely doesn't hit 60 frames per second, and it has screen tearing. With this, as far as I can tell from preview clips that Digital Foundry's used, there is no screen tearing on Final Fantasy 15, and they have yet to test Kingdom Hearts 3, so it's going to be interesting to see. I've only seen like one video where someone tested Kingdom Hearts 3, so, I don't know. But yeah, so, stay tuned for that. So, yeah. So, link description, all my shit, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you guys in the next one.